Hello everybody, welcome to my channel. I am JV here, and today I'm sidestepping from my original content and we'll be talking about my thoughts on the Jurassic Park duology, or my perspective, the Jurassic Park trilogy, as I'm including Dragon Teeth in my personal collection. I will give you the reasons why later. Jurassic Park was written by the late Michael Crichton in the year 1990, with a sequel written a few years afterwards, following the huge success of this book being adapted into a movie directed by Steven Spielberg. The main theme of the book is warning about the mismanagement of capitalism and the dangers of playing God by controlling life. Asking the question, is it ethically and morally right to bring back an entire ecosystem or organism along its dimension to justify the development of advanced technologies and what might cause to already thriving environment? I find it a bit humorous on how the extreme Michael Crichton takes the character John Hammond towards this villainous goal of capitalism to justify his means of creating the park. Me personally, I like how the movie portrays Hammond better. Him being this wishful dreamer wanting to show the world his creations, being blinded by the scope of reality, versus the book where it shows Hammond as this extreme capitalist trying to divide the balance of God and nature, doing what he can to make sure that he's always at the top of competition. But don't worry, spoiler alert. This version of Hammond dies in the book, as in the words of Dr. Malcolm from the film, life will find a way. Everything falls apart, and the dinosaurs get out and eat everybody because one man or group are trying to irresponsibly control nature. The chaos spreads. The first book is entertaining and iconic, has a better scientific accuracy than the movie, but it can get a bit graphic in some places if you are not into that kind of stuff, including in the beginning of the book where an infant child gets eaten by compies, which surprises me personally, because I was reading it, I was like, whoa. And then Dr. Malcolm also dies in the first book, spoiler again. But then, in the second book, it's established that he was only severely harmed and he was only to near death. So, he doesn't die. Because he was, in a sense, the narrator for the first book, and yet again for the second book, because he's this chaos theory specialist. Here. I was going to show you some of the diagrams and whatnot, but never mind. Now, in the second book, let's just say that the movie is better. I don't like the book. I've heard that Michael Crichton is not good at writing sequels, and it's the case for Jurassic Park: The Lost World. After the success of the movie, Crichton was inspired to write a sequel to Jurassic Park, with Spielberg wanting to make a second movie and coming up with his own ideas, merging the two as the final product of the film, which the movie is totally better than the book. Trust me. Despite the book's cover saying that it's fast and gripping, I did not find it either fast or gripping. There's chapters in this book I feel are unnecessary to the story. It's the first and so far only novel I have read in which I was almost falling asleep through. And one of the main characters, named Levine, is so annoying at times. I personally wish he got eaten. No wonder why Steven Spielberg never included him in the movie. Though I don't like the book that much, I like how Crichton brings more paleontological facts within it to keep it more scientifically accurate, such as the T-Rex having a great eyesight and smell. The theme of the book is quite interesting. We're talking about the environmental and ecological damage that are occurring on Isla Sorna, such as overpopulated predators and whatnot. It often feels like a science book compared to that of the first book, though. Malcolm doesn't seem to have PTSD as he does in the movie, which I personally think should have been more of a focus on, because he starts off as wanting to get off the island as soon as possible, and he doesn't even want to go there in the first place until stupid Levine messes it up. But then he gets to the island and his perspective shifts as if he forgotten that he wanted to leave. I like the closure that he gives with the character of Dodson, as he reintroduces and expands upon him for the first book. Spoiler: if you know what happens to Peter Ludlow in the movie, you pretty much know what happens to Dodson in the book. And that's pretty much the only thing that I find entertaining about this book. Sadly, only 5 to 6 people in total die in this entire book, and it's the most exciting thing about it. Let's move on to the last book. I don't want to talk about this book anymore. I personally find it boring and slow, despite the saying that it's fast and gripping, because it's not to me at least. And now, let's get to Dragon Teeth. One of Michael Crichton's last books, written before his passing in 2008, compiled and published in 2017. And to be honest, I don't remember much from this book, as I read it about 9 years ago when it was first released. It began it being the first Michael Crichton book that I've read, followed by Jurassic Park some years later. I remember it being fun and adventurous, being great, or maybe a little better than Jurassic Park, in my opinion. In my world, even though it is technically not part of Crichton's Jurassic series, I do consider it as part of the same world as Jurassic Park, primarily since Dragon Teeth takes place 100 years before the events of Jurassic Park, so you can get away with quite a bit of anything, practically. As the book's cover states, not since Jurassic Park was digging up the past, it's all the thing. Sure is. Dragon Teeth is a historic fictional book, and that takes place during the 1870s, a time in which the famous Bone Wars occurred. I love the story of how it is given a take on the relationship between Cope and Marsh, people who originally knew each other but turned enemies as they competed to find out and identify the most famous dinosaur bones, as was part of the Bone Wars. With a fictional character of William Johnson in the Grassfiles of the two, a student who admired both Cope and Marsh. And a little bit, as the back of the cover for this book states, The year is 1876. Warring Indian tribes still populate America's western territories. Even as lawless gold rush towns begin to mark the landscape, and two monumental paleontologists pillage the wild west, hunting for the dinosaur fossils while surveilling, deceiving, and sabotaging each other. Into this treacherous territory plunges William Johnson, the student who has joined the world-renowned paleontologist Othniel Charles Marsh on his latest expedition. But when Marsh becomes convinced that William is a spy for his nemesis, Edward Drinker Copes, he abandons him in Cheyenne, Wyoming, a locus of crime and violence. William joins forces with Cope and soon stumbles upon the discovery of historic proportions of this extraordinary treasure, but becomes a sexual danger. And Johnson's newfound resilience will be sorely tested. End quote. End quote. So Dragon Teeth is a book that I would consider in my world to be a great prequel to the success of Michael Crichton's Jurassic Park series. I really liked it. I did, even though I don't remember much from it. A series of my favorite dinosaur books within the fictional genre. A series exploring the history of dinosaur discoveries and imagination to its fullest extent. Even though, according to modern science, it is impossible to clone the prehistoric creatures millions of years ago, probably for the best. And you know what? It's a good thing. Because that way we won't be worried about being eaten or whatnot. But yeah, I really like this book, along with the others. And I highly recommend that you read these books, all of them. I'm glad to have given you a brief perspective and overview of them. I want to make more videos and give it more descriptions on these books and comparing them to the movies. The Lost World is going to be rough though, because I don't like it. And I think I should read Dragon Teeth again. I don't remember much from it. It's been years since I last read it. But I hope you all have a good day, and